The Holy Book, Sefer Kav Hayashar, Episode 75. The sages have said that if Israel had only kept their first Shabbos properly, no nation or language could have ever had dominion over them. And if they would only keep 2 Shabboses, they would immediately be redeemed. Shabbos 118b. This is because the commandment of the Shabbos is equal to the entire Torah. Shemos Rabbah 25.12. The sages also say that whoever takes delight in the Shabbos is granted an unlimited inheritance. Shabbos 118b. Yet I have observed an evil circumstance that has become widespread among the exiles of these lands. That is the detraction of the honor of the holy Shabbos day. To begin with, I have seen people going each and every Shabbos Eve to the inns, where they eat and drink until they are as intoxicated as Lot. Only then do they make their way home. But then, their drunken stupor, they are unable to make Kiddush properly. The sages have taught, Tosefes Chagiga 3b, quoting Midrash, that there are 3 parties that testify on behalf of one another. They are the Holy One, blessed is He, the Shabbos, and Israel. Yet we have learned, Shavuos 30a, that one must give testimony in a standing position, whereas a drunkard cannot even stand upon his legs. Can Hashem be pleased that a drunkard is testifying to his uniqueness and unity, and to the fact that Shabbos, that is the equivalent of all 613 commandments? Therefore, one who cares for his soul will stay far away from this pitfall, for the punishment will be very great. A second pitfall that I have observed is the many villagers who live in open settlements with no wall or fence carry freely from their private domains to the houses of their Gentile neighbors, and vice versa. They rationalize that this is permitted because they are the only Jews living there on a permanent basis. Therefore, the presence of Gentiles does not render carrying forbidden. But in this they are in error and do not know the law clearly. For we rule that a solitary Jew living in a place may carry throughout the city only if it is surrounded by a proper wall and gates. Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 382. Only then is the entire town treated as if it were his own 4 cubits, so that he may carry throughout it. But if the settlement is unwalled, and certainly if it is an open village, there is no justification for permitting a Jew to carry outside of his doorway at all. It is absolutely forbidden. Therefore, whoever trembles at the word of Hashem must inform the villagers, especially those with an unattached dining hall, that if they carry anything in their villages or unwalled towns, it is just as if they ate forbidden food. A third custom I have noticed is that the residents of one village often travel to another village far away to attend services. They do this in fulfillment of the verse, "In a multitude of subjects is the glory of the king." Mishlei 14.28. The king of the universe, the Holy One, blessed is He. But once they arrive, they spend the entire time engaged in vanity. One of them relates how he bought a horse for a good price from a certain Gentile, and another how he bought a cow and other animals. Their entire conversation revolves around mundane matters, yet the sages have taught, based on the verse, and honor it by refraining from doing your ways or speaking of a matter. Yeshayahu 58.13. And that's one conversation on the Shabbos should not be like that on a weekday. Shabbos 113b. These villagers do not see one another throughout the week, but only on Shabbos. They engage in every matter of conversation, including worldly affairs and business. In such a situation, it would be better if they remained at home, asleep in bed, so that they would not speak of mundane matters on a Shabbos. This stumbling block is very common on account of our many sins, and is to be found among most villagers. A related plague that I have seen is that some cases they walk 2 or 3 hours from one town to the next to attend services claiming that it is within the Shabbos boundary. But I know for myself that it is often a distance of 2 to 3 times the Shabbos boundary. Therefore, I admonish them that they may count on the Shabbos boundary only where there is a tradition among the residents that some well-known authority measured the distance himself and permitted it for them. They must not rely on a mere school teacher or someone not qualified to rule in matters of prohibitions. For on account of our many sins, there are many in this generation who are willing to permit the forbidden ingratiate themselves with the people for the sake of bribery. This causes them to permit even Torah prohibitions. Therefore, let every individual remove this stumbling block by refraining from traveling to any place until he has received permission from the rabbi of the country. A fourth stumbling block that I have seen among some communities is that the holy Jews, in their desire to honor the Shabbos to the greatest extent possible, send meat to the shops of non-Jewish bakers to be roasted, since in this region Jews do not usually own ovens. This act of honoring the Shabbos involves two evils. First, they send the meat in the care of an unmarried Jewish girl to the baker shop, where she violates the prohibition against seclusion with a man. This is forbidden even with a Jew, because King David and the prophet Shmuel made an enactment prohibiting seclusion between any man and woman. Avodah Zarah 36b. Therefore, the guardian of the meat, the unmarried girl, is herself in need of a guardian against seclusion. How then can she guard the meat? Moreover, since no Jew assists the non-Jew baker in the work, the cooked dish or roasted meat becomes forbidden forever due to the Torah prohibition against non-Jewish cooking. Not everyone is on the level of Mar Bar Rav Ashi, one of the sages, that he can be expected to know this law. This is certainly true in the smaller communities. As a result, they are frequently guilty of this iniquity on account of our many sins and often end up consuming food that is forbidden by Torah law. For I have never found any authority who permits this in practice. Non-Jewish cooking is completely forbidden, even if a Jew stands by and supervises, unless he actually assists in the cooking. On account of our many sins, the majority of Poland and Lithuania stumble in this matter because they employ non-Jewish servant girls who cook for them without any assistance from their Jewish employers. Therefore, I admonish every individual to remove this stumbling block from his house. Let him not send the meat with a solitary girl or woman. And if he does send meat to the baker shop, let him be sure to at least break up the coals or place the meat upon the fire personally, lest he be guilty of the violating a Torah prohibition. Heaven forbid. Whoever is careful about the four things that I have mentioned will be rewarded manyfold and merit an unlimited inheritance, as it is stated, and I will grant you the inheritance of your father Yaakov. Yeshayahu 58:14. Amen, so may it be his will.